Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, our praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai Ba'asham, Makakwadash Brakatham. Double honors shall go to apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone to continue to teach and to rule well. Shalom. To the Akims, a great millstone of like-minded camps and individuals who continue to teach as one body, who continue to be out on the highways and byways, risking their lives for the greater good. Shalom to sincere Aquats who are continuously learning in silence as the Holy Scriptures have commanded for you to do so. And also shalom to the true believers and subscribers of this true gospel, for this should be considered a true blessing from the higher power. This is Azariah Gabar, representing the King is Coming channel, back at it with another lesson for edification purposes. All right. So, more and more layoffs are taking place in Babylon the Great. All right? Unless you crawled out of a cave, you should know this by now. All right? So the title of this blessed lesson, Abaratazah, is going to be No More Grinding. No more grinding. Because that's where we're heading in these last days. All right? No more grinding. One second. Now, you got, the dictionary word of grinding, and there's several definitions, but a couple of them that stands out. Like, for instance, scraping, all right? These nouns, okay? Crushing, crunching, milling, powdering, rubbing, smashing, all right? So these are noun words that equate to working in some way, shape, or form. All right? So, like I said, no more grinding. Period. So what you see here on the screen, you got this guy. He represents this channel called the Snyder Reports. And he's pretty much on top of all these economic news, current world events, such things of the like. All right. So I'm going to play this video in its entirety. And then Abaratazah, Lord willing, come up with my precepts. And then we'll close this lesson out for today. Let's go.
Ready for another major shift because UPS has just announced another massive layoff. But this is in addition to what they experienced back in 2025, which is this.
UPS just cut 48,000 jobs, guys. But don't worry, it's to improve efficiency, they said. Translation there, robots don't need healthcare.
Simple. They cut 48,000 jobs back in 2025. Now they're announcing a new wave. Look at this right here. It says UPS to cut additional 30,000 jobs in their Amazon unwind and turnaround plan. What is happening right now is something we are going to see not just from UPS, but from many other companies as well. People are competing against Amazon. That's what's happening at this time. And millions of people will be impacted as a result. UPS has about 490,000 employees worldwide, most of which are here in the United States. But here's the concern. Amazon is now expanding. they're growing. They are now competing in so many different markets that, according to experts, millions of people will be out of a job very soon as a result of competition from Amazon. Look at this though, okay? UPS has gone as far as offering employees $1,800 per year that they've been employed by the company, but you can only accept it if your payout will be over $10,000, meaning you have to work there like 6 or 7 years in order to actually get this. Look at this right here, because again, this is coming back. There are now reports that UPS is bringing back their buyout option, meaning more than 30,000 people could be let go very soon. Look at this.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my
UPS buyouts and layoffs are coming. They're offering $1,800 per year that you work there. That's it. And many of the videos on social media are stating you're worth way more than that. But are you? What's the reality? They're gonna get rid of 22,000 of you. Regardless of what you say, the union is not going to be able to do anything. The layoffs are coming.
And they are coming. This is something you need to be prepared for. But it's not just layoffs of employees and restructuring certain factories and warehouses. I want to read something to you. Look at this right here. It says UPS preps 30,000 job cuts and more driver buyouts in 2026. Okay. I want to read this to you though, okay? Look what's going on. It says right here, UPS plans to cut up to 30,000 operational positions and launch another voluntary driver buyout program as it continues to adjust to fewer deliveries for Amazon. EVP and CFO Brian Dykes said in Q4 earnings call on Tuesday. Okay, that's today. It says the move will help UPS reach a $3 billion savings target this year. They build upon the company's reduction of about 48,000 operational positions and completion of a full-time driver buyout program last year. Keep in mind, there's a lot of drivers out there that are saying that they're making $125,000 to about $190,000 per year. Think about that for a second. Drivers are making $190,000 a year. That's a very good income. That's a very good income. Okay, what is that? $15,000 a month? That's huge. Okay, technically it's more than $15,000. Okay, but that is a massive amount of money. Okay, $15,000 a month or more to drive for UPS. That's a great job. Okay, but now what UPS is starting to realize, they're spending too much money because the amount of shipments that they're doing is not enough. Their trucks are not filled. Okay, they're just not filled. I remember talking to a UPS driver probably about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. Actually, it was before Christmas. So yes, a little bit longer than a month. But one of the things that he was saying is that his day, like he's being told to slow down because he could complete all of his deliveries probably in the first 5 hours of his day, but he's told to, you need to extend it to 8 hours. Okay, if you want your 8 hours, drive a little bit slower. Okay, take your time a little bit when you're delivering the packages. Be very careful with bigger packages. Put it on a dolly, wheel it up to the house, drop it off, do all the things like that. Okay, because if you don't, you will run out of packages and your time will be cut short. You won't be working 8 hours a day. You'll be working like 5 to 6 hours and that's it. So there are warehouses that are telling their employees to slow down. And now UPS is realizing this, that they are overpaying their employees for the amount of work that they're doing. As a result, they're now starting to do layoffs. Okay, at the operational, these are operational positions. Now, I want to read something else to you. Okay, look at this right here. It says, in terms of variable cost, we expect to reduce operational positions by up to 30,000. This will be accomplished through attrition and we expect to offer a second voluntary separation program for full-time drivers. Okay. It also says UPS also said it has identified 24 buildings for closure in the first half of 2026, with additional closure possible later in the year. Last year, UPS closed 93 buildings, is what it said. Okay. Now, here's where things get very interesting. What we've heard from UPS is that they have to restructure. They have to look to remain competitive. Okay, they're not going to increase prices. Okay, and maybe they need to a little bit, but they're not going to look to do that. First, they're going to look to save money by cutting costs. Okay, eliminating some of the buildings. That's going to save them a decent amount of money. All right, so if they can get rid of 24 buildings in the first half, okay, that's going to be decent. They got rid of 93 last year. So again, could we get up to 93? Possibly. But again, the biggest thing here is the amount of money that's going out. They are going to, again, accomplish through attrition, but they also expect a second voluntary separation program for full-time drivers. This is something that we are going to see from many companies in 2026. If they are struggling to just stay afloat and turn a profit, my guess is we are going to see more companies offer these voluntary separation programs. It's not just going to be UPS. Keep in mind, the federal government did it last year. And according to many reports and experts, they say it was a success. Some programs, some agencies in the federal government, they actually laid off too many people. And so this was a problem. They had to hire some people back. But if UPS goes down this route, it could be a success for them. But again, there's going to be problems along the way. Now, I want to leave you with one thing. As we see more companies start to lay off employees, and again, we're going to see it, they're going to restructure, okay? They're going to come into 2026 with a new game plan. As this happens, just be prepared. We are going to see people get laid off that did not expect to be laid off. We're going to see businesses close. We're going to see factories shut down. Buildings will be sold off. That's what we're anticipating for 2026. So, just want to leave you with that, but understand at this time, UPS does not have the time to sit around and wait for more business to come in. We've already gone through Q4. We've already gone through the holiday season. This is when the majority of shipments are made. If UPS couldn't have added a lot of revenue to the bottom line, well, this is what we're going to see. And if UPS is doing this, my guess is retailers are going to be doing this, okay? Other shipping companies will be doing this. Logistic companies will be doing this. And we are going to see a massive amount of layoffs in the next several months. So, if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Also, if you have any insight.
All right. So you heard that. So before I proceed any further, I need to correct myself on one thing. At the beginning, I mentioned about that word grinding, and I came up with some other words to associate with grinding, and I've said that these were nouns. Well, no, these are adjective words, action words. So Salakia for that. All right. So now moving forward. All right. So you Akims and Akwats, this is a fair warning. All right. It's going to become, 100-fold, if you ask me. All right. And there's one key word, and that's automation. Right? Well, I'll say two words: automation and AI technology. All right. These are going to be the two factors that's going to replace you humans. All right. And this is where the UBI, or the Universal Basic Income, is going to come into play. All right. So for all you hyenas out there that want to talk about, oh, my man, he has to make $100,000 a year or more. Listen, wake the F up. Real talk. Wake up and smell the roses. It's not going to happen. All right? It ain't going to happen like that. Period. So once this universal basic income truly becomes mandated, because right now there are some states and cities that's experimenting. I know one of them in Chicago. They're doing some type of a form test run of UBI. They're giving out $500 checks a month, I believe, to X amount of their residents out there in Chi-Town. And again, because Esau Edom knows that this is going to be part of the norm. Listen, I worked for UPS almost 40 years ago, okay? And I can tell you firsthand, that is back-breaking manual labor. All right, I was a skinny kid back then, about to go to college, and I needed the money. And I was unloading those big tractor trailer trucks. All right? But now, I believe that UPS, they're bringing in robots to, load and unload those tractor trailers. You heard? So this is getting real. Period. Your job is not safe and secure anymore. So then what you gonna do? What you gonna do? All right? Period. So I'd like to pull up some precepts to back up what I'm saying. We're going to go to the book of Isaiah 19:14, and it reads, "The Lord had mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit." Verse 15, here's a point. "Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do." Woo! Period. Because the bottom line is, Esau Edom realizes that for the amount of money that he's actually paying for human labor, human resource labor, as far as salaries, benefits, health insurance, let's say time off from work, paternal leave, things of the sort. Just replace you humans with robots and AI technology and get it over with. That's it. Matter of fact, I saw a video the other day about somewhere in China. There's a restaurant out there that is 100% complete automated restaurant. Everything is robotic, from the cooks, chefs, maintenance, cleaning the floors, servers, everything is automated now. No humans. You might have one human to oversee the technical process and make sure those robots are doing their jobs. But other than that, that's it. All right? So if this is not a wake-up call for you Jakes out there, nothing will. So moving forward, verse 16. In that day shall Egypt be like unto woman. And isn't that what's going on right now? And it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Woo! Okay? So you're definitely going to have the weaker vessels, the woman, they're going to be traumatized and, petrified about losing their jobs. But you heard what that guy said in the Snyder reports. These UPS truck drivers were making up to $190,000 a year. So guess what? Those dudes going to be like women too. They're going to be like women holding their nut sacks. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Okay? So get used to it. Period. All right? We're going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes 12:3. And it reads, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. And that's what's happening now, a whole lot of trembling. And the strong man shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. And those that look out of the windows be darkened. Woo! And verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Woo! All right? Remember, I just gave that definition of grinding. All right? Well, several definitions of grinding. All right? So, that's a lot of work. That's a whole lot of work that's being disintegrated as we speak right now. You heard? So now is a time more than ever to seek the Lord and pray that he will protect him or will protect you with his hedge, with his covering over you and your family. You better pray and pray 10 times more, like the scripture says. Pray 10 times more in these last days. You heard? So that's going to conclude this beautiful and spiritual lesson for today. Hopefully, once again, edification was brought forth. And as always, all praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Makakudash, Brakatam, Kwam, Yashua, Rise Israel. And as always, Abaratasa, Lord willing, on to the next video. Shalom.